Good afternoon and welcome to our Open Medical Center Happy Hour podcast. My name is Donna and I am your host. Well, today we're going to talk with Dr. Marconi, who is going to teach us about pets and the effects it has on your health. Dr. Marconi is a family medicine doctor in Morton, Texas. He received his medical degree from Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine and has been in practice for more than 20 years. Dr. Marconi is also the proud owner of Camp Bow Wow in Sugar Land, Texas. Dr. Marconi, welcome. We're glad to have you today.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that.
So over the years, we've heard that pets do wonderful things for patients. And you are an amazing physician who I've watched for years and an avid animal lover. How did this come to be?
Well, Donna, I always wanted to be a physician ever since I was a kid. And actually, I went to college. I didn't quite have the confidence to do the sciences and try medical school. So I majored in business. And after college, I worked for IBM. They gave me confidence competing against other people from great schools. And after I loved my job at IBM, but I decided to go to medical school. I applied to the University of Pennsylvania post-baccalaureate pre-health program. And to pick up my sciences, and after you picked up the sciences, you went to medical school, and that's how I ended up as a physician. So, that came to be, and I think I was born. I loved dogs as a kid. I loved dogs, and I know I did get a dog as a child, and had him for a very short time. He got loose and got hit by a car. I was heartbroken. And, but moved on. And then what really got me going is, after I had my children, in sixth grade, the kids come home alone, right? Because I'm working, kids were alone. And I said, well, I do not like this. I went to the rescue and I got a collie, German Shepherd mix. So the kids wouldn't be home alone and they would have some protection. And that dog was just wonderful. Loved it, and I felt much better about my sixth graders being home with this dog, because I know this dog will protect them, and they weren't alone, they had the dog. So then they asked. I went to the Houston Dog Show with my kids. They twisted my arm to be a foster for the collie rescue, and I did that. We did that. We had a couple rescues that we fostered, and then then I think on our third one I failed, so then I had two dogs, and I had a collie and my collie German Shepherd, and that was wonderful. And then a little while later, I don't know what made me do it, but I got introduced to Great Danes, and I decided I wanted one, and I got Thor, and Thor was just unbelievable, and a true gift from God, I think, and just was wonderful.
And I understand you recently lost Thor.
I did. I lost Thor Labor Day, so it's almost been a year. And then what happened was I went about 6 weeks without having a dog, and then I had worked with the Great Dane Rescue, so I called the Great Dane Rescue of Southeast Texas, who are a fabulous organization, and the director, his name is Judy. I said, Judy, I think I'm ready for another dog. This was mid-October. I've made it 6 weeks without having a dog. And she was excited. And I think and then I got Athena about 3 or 4 days later, which was from the rescue. She was, dogs are amazing. She lived in a hoarder situation. And so she, really was not used to people. I don't think she was used to being touched. But after a few months, it took a little while for her. She's the most loving dog ever. So that was amazing. And then, I don't know, about a month ago, I saw on the Great Dane Rescue this other dog that I was like was beautiful. And so, I mean, all dogs are beautiful, but this one seemed pretty special. Her name was Gina. So I called Judy back and I just said, boy, Gina's a good looking dog. And she goes, she is. She's wonderful. You want to foster? And I couldn't say no. So I fostered Gina. She got along with Athena. They are best buds. And, she's amazing. So I have 2 Great Danes at home now. And it's just, they bring me so much pleasure. I can't even describe it.
Dogs tend to do that. Our animals tend to do that.
Absolutely.
But then there have been studies how animals can affect our physical, mental, and emotional life. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's true. Certainly pets can increase our mood, boost our mood. I think they provide some unconditional love that just is exciting to have them around. I think cats and dogs, it's been really shown, Donna, they can reduce stress, decrease anxiety, decrease depression, and, decrease loneliness. They're amazing. I have to tell you one quick story that I went to visit my sister, and her sister's friend is 70 years old, and she got her first dog. She got a Labradoodle. And, she's alone. I said, well, I have to go meet this Labradoodle. His name is Stormy. And she goes, Stormy is my life. And that just, here this woman is 70 years old, gets her first dog, and describes her dog as her life. And so I definitely think that they add a lot to your life. They're great companions, and so that's how they reduce loneliness. You come home, you're never alone. They encourage social interaction. You walk your dog, and trust me, most neighborhoods you're going to be stopped by others, and they're going to want to know about that dog. Total strangers. That walking that dog, it just makes you open to meeting other people. And certainly caring for an animal makes you feel needed and wanted, and so that elevates the mood. They certainly make you, smile and laugh. But not only that, the physical benefits of having a dog are tremendous. First of all, most likely you're going to walk the dog, and that's exercise for you. So that's great. You probably, are going to be playing on the floor with the dog. And so that's exercise. And, if you're a nut like me, you'll have those dogs chasing you around the house, which is additional exercise. So it's just kind of fun. So there are some cardiovascular benefits of that increased activity. So the studies have shown that dog owners are more likely to meet daily exercise requirements more than people who do not have dogs.
I was also reading where the human needs that basic need of touch. And the dogs tend to fulfill that, especially during COVID when we've been so isolated. That feeling of touching and petting and hugging is something that's very soothing, both mentally and health-wise.
That's very true. That's how some of this goes. And there's actually studies that show that, playing with dogs or cats elevate serotonin and dopamine, which these are neurotransmitters, which are kind of like feel-good hormones or chemicals in the body. And so when these levels go up, you're more relaxed and more calm, and it decreases depression, So, and then actually there's a third hormone, that increases called oxytocin. That's kind of, the nickname is the love hormone, which it's been shown that when you start hugging and petting dogs, it goes up in your body. So that's just one. I mean, these are chemical changes in the body that improve one's health and improves one's mood. And again, research has shown that owning a dog can improve, humans' mental health by increasing the serotonin, the dopamine, the oxytocin. And, these are all feel-good hormones that affect the mood and everything else.
You are a compassionate doctor that's been dedicated to his patients for many years. And I haven't spoken to one of your patients that doesn't feel that way. But you're also an advocate for animals, and you work with rescue agencies, and you work with pet owners, and now you have Camp Bow Wow. But how does a person pick the right animal for them?
That's really, really important to do. You have to pick the right animal. I would first think of your lifestyle. What animal would be suited in my home? How much room do I have? Do I have other animals at home? Is there children? Do I have children at home? How often am I gone? How much time do I have to devote to the animal? How much care does the animal need? Certainly other things, are you allergic? Are you allergic to animal dander? These are all things that have to go into selecting the right pet. Think of the personality traits of the animal. Who's going to take care of the animal when you're on vacation? All these things should go in because it's so important to pick the right animal. I think, Don, in my opinion, some people don't pick the right. If we talk about dogs, for instance, they don't pick the right breed. And then, there's nothing wrong with the dog, but it will end up in a rescue because they didn't pick the right dog,
Right.
And it's important to pick, if you're looking for a dog, pick the correct breed for you, and, take a look at the dog temperament, and what matches your temperament. Does the dog require a lot of exercise? If it does, and you're not one to walk too much, then, don't pick a Labradoodle. Don't pick an animal, a dog that requires a lot of exercise. So, just think of all that stuff. And, you also have to, unfortunately, think of financially, what can you afford? Because there's food, there's vet costs, vaccines, just routine care, then there's toys, supplies, dog collar, leashes, all that kind of stuff, boarding when you're out of town, dog tags, microchipping, the costs do, continue. I think they're worth every penny if you can afford it, but, there are some costs involved. And then, as the dog ages, the dog may have some medical bills, so you got to think of that as well.
Because it's like adding a person to your family.
It is. They are part of your family. That's so wonderful now that, dogs are considered, part of the family.
Then we talked about Camp Bow Wow. And when we talk about how long is the dog going to be away at home, and or how long you're going to be away at home or from home, or where you're going to board it, can you tell me about your services at Camp Bow Wow? Because a happy dog, happy life, kind of like the wife.
Exactly. So Camp Bow Wow is a premier doggy daycare, boarding, grooming, and training facility. So we kind of think we do it all. We really care about the dogs. Dog safety is my number one. What's unique about Camp Bow Wow is that we have all day play for the dogs. So we interview the dogs before they are accepted into Camp Bow Wow. We don't take aggressive breeds. We take all breeds, but just no aggressive dogs. Basically what we want is the dog to be happy when it's at Camp Bow Wow. And so after the interview process, we take them in. If they come into daycare, we have tons of parents that drop them off before they go to work and pick them up after work. And the dogs play all day. If the parents want the dogs to go up for a lunch, then we take them and we put them in a cabin and they have lunch and then come out after lunch. It's really a nice facility to dogs. Dogs enjoy being around other dogs. Most dogs, especially if they're introduced to other dogs when they're young, love being with other dogs.
They have ball pits and bubbles, and they celebrate birthdays. It's quite amazing to see.
We do all that. We try to stimulate the dogs when we have them in our care. So we have, ball pit Tuesday, we call it. We have these swimming pools for dogs. Instead of filling the pools with water, we fill them with balls, and then we hide treats. So they work one-on-one with the counselors and find those treats and then throw the balls around and all that. And they work one-on-one with a counselor. So that's a lot of fun. We have Workout Wednesday where they go through an obstacle course, and, we train them to go through the obstacle course and get treats as they do it. And then, every day we do something to help stimulate the dogs. The bubbles on Thursdays, we, in the play yards, we just blow these bubbles that are safe for the dogs, and the dogs jump up and, pop bubbles, and they have fun. They have fun.
I'd have fun.
Exactly. You do have fun in the play yards watching these dogs.
That's all wonderful. And you also do dog training, right?
We do.
Okay.
We do have a trainer that's experienced, certified. So, yes, we definitely do training, and we have a phenomenal groomer that does, great work as well.
So for our listeners who are concerned, I personally have a Jack Russell, and anybody who knows what a Jack Russell is, they're a handful. But it is important when you get your dog. Training was very helpful for my dog in some ways. It taught me how not to be what I needed not to be. So those may be some things you want to consider if you're considering to get a dog. We do see the health benefits in our cancer patients and other patients where dogs come in, and cats, and there's just this soothing part of it.
Scientific research has been showing more and more that pets can help us, live healthier lives and heal. And we're talking, the National Institutes on Health, NIH, have ongoing research in this. Pet therapy is used in a variety of ways now. I mean, hospitals use it. Certainly in Houston, I know it's done at Texas Children's Hospital. Rehab centers use dogs. Eating disorder facilities use, equestrian therapy or horses for their therapy. Nursing homes, dogs. Psychiatric facilities have animals. It's like there is a connection, and when you have that connection, it helps in the healing. Owners of dogs, I will tell you, patients have told me a number of times, you got to get me better because I have this dog at home, and so they're motivated to get better. And so, when you're motivated to get better, you are more likely to get better.
And I think we all like to feel loved, and we like to care for people or care for things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why, touch, has a calming effect. When you can pet a dog, it decreases your stress, promotes, it does really promote physical health.
So, Dr. Marconi, in this time with COVID and with the world the way it is, and we're hearing all this negative stuff, what is one thing you'd want your listeners to know today, from a doctor standpoint, from an animal lover standpoint, just from your standpoint? Because we're all going through trying times.
It is trying times with COVID. And, I would say, if they're thinking about getting a dog or any other animal, do the research, make sure you do the research, get the right animal, and that animal will provide you with an awful lot of love. And, it really can help loneliness. It can help you feel better. It's gives you a purpose. I just think dogs, I'm a dog lover, but, cat lovers are the same, that, they, you will get, 100 times back of what you give. They're just incredible animals. When you show a dog love, it will come back 100 times.
I agree. So what we will do is post on our Facebook, and we'll post on this podcast. If you want to see Dr. Marconi as a patient, we'll provide you with his information. And if you're interested in having your little buddy go to Camp Bow Wow we'll be glad to do that. And Dr. Marconi, I just want to clarify, you only do dogs, right?
Yes, Camp Bow Wow is
okay. I just wanted to make sure
Yep.
that I didn't put something I wasn't supposed to. But if you want to have your furry friend go to Camp Bow Wow, we'll also post that information. I want to thank you, Dr. Marconi, for joining us today. And a big thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Beginning now, set an intention and a relentless focus on living your life as the greatest person you can be in all situations. Please join us next week.
Thank you for joining us today on Oak Bend Medical Center Happy Hour podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's broadcast and invite you to email us at oakbendhappyhourpodcast@obmc.org with any questions or topics that you would like for us to cover. Remember, you can find us here each Friday at 5. Until next week, be mindful and stay healthy.